Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Game Hub. I'm your host, Gamer K, and with me is my best friend, my partner in crime, Dark Vanguard Ren, aka Ed.
Hello.
Yes, you can say hello to the people.
Yes, I know.
I'm a cheap Canadian production. I'm not a dark, cheap Canadian production. And today, to end the month of November, and maybe get into the holiday spirit next time, probably not, we are going to finish a list we did last year, but we didn't get to finish because, you know, the whole everything that happened last year, and, you know, we were basically unable to do this video. We are finishing my second top 13 death battle ideas with the number one pick. Because it's a group battle, we're going to make a whole video out of it. It's time to sin. No, not that type. No, we're not going to Vegas either. Wait a minute, you still don't have a passport, right?
I do not have a passport.
Damn it. Anyway, we are doing the 7 Deadly Sins from Full Metal Alchemist, the homunculus monsters of the series, versus the 7 Deadly Sins, the heroes of... what's the realm called?
I actually don't remember.
Damn it. From the 7 Deadly Sins series. For this one, we'll be debating back and forth of every single sin and pitting sin against sin. So the rules for this battle are no outside help, no teaming up. So it will be sin on sin. Or as anyone in Vegas would say, 2-for-1 deal.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just get to it.
Yeah.
Where should we start?
I guess sloth would be a good area to start
Well, since it's the laziest sin, why not?
with.
In this battle, the slothful, the slothiest will go toe-to-toe. Sloth from, Full Metal Alchemist versus King, the King of the Fairies. So let's go into Sloth a little bit, because from what I remember from his abilities, he is super strong, he's super durable, he's got super speed for some reason, but he doesn't like doing anything.
Yeah. He always talks like he's in constant pain. Or constipation.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, from the look of this dude, it's like Bane without the tanks.
Yeah.
I think the one I double checked my information and everything, and he's just feels like doing his tasks as tiresome and a pain. That's why he's always like that, because he believes because he just wants to sleep. So any task he's willing to do, he's forced to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, he even has the chains on his arms to use as weapons, which, given his strength, could be used very well.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, he wasn't in that much of the show, from what I remember.
The only thing he did was dig a circle underneath all of the war of their specific area.
Yeah, because that was his job, right? To build a tunnel network.
And his only fight scene, he actually did a massive amount of damage.
And he was against Armstrong, of all people.
Both Armstrong, to be specific.
No, I know, right? And both of them, that's like getting like the biggest, buffest guy at the gym and having them fight the Hodge twins and actually doing some damage.
Yeah. I mean, hell, he broke Luis's arm.
Yeah, and given how much that guy's punched and what he's punched throughout the series, that's an incredible feat of strength.
Yeah. And then his sister, hell, she's the general of the Briggs Wall. She made Armstrong look weak.
That is true.
Because she flung him through a house.
Yeah. So by going off of that, we can estimate that either he was just going easy on her because he's his sister, or she is stronger than he is. So given that, Sloth must be incredibly strong in himself. His only downfall, though, again, is his unwillingness to do anything. Like, he literally gave up because it was too much of a hassle to do so.
Well, that, and he used all of the souls within his...
Yeah, that is true.
So...
Yeah, his Philosopher's Stone. He does have a certain amount of souls. And because I guess if he doesn't do anything for years and years, because he mostly sleeps, he is basically storing all that energy.
Yeah.
Alright, now let's get into King's abilities.
Let's see. Flight, telekinesis,
Mm-hmm.
shape-shifting to an extent.
Yeah, and his body pillow, for one thing.
That's actually his spears. One of its many forms.
He can turn into a spear. He can turn into a giant kuma.
Which, fun fact about that spear, it's actually made out of wood.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Chastity Full is actually part of
the sacred tree.
The sacred tree, yeah.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, I know. I looked that up one day.
Not only that, it can turn into a giant flower cannon. It can turn into tiny, tiny daggers. It can turn into a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah, someone actually did analysis on every one of its transformations.
What's the strongest one? Keep in mind, we didn't see the Wrath of the Dragon season, so we're going off on what we know from when the Ten Commandments were in charge and everything, so bear with us.
So, yeah, that's, it also has the ability to turn someone into stone, which, frankly, I'd say would be technically the strongest ability it has.
Okay. Isn't it weird that the sins of sloth are the fastest people?
Yeah, and it's also funny that King's also immortal.
Yeah, but he still can be. But in theory, he can still be killed.
Oh, yeah, that goes for any immortal.
Yeah. Now, the thing I like to say, while sloth is the sin of sloth because he just doesn't want to do anything, King is the sin of sloth because he just refused to take his responsibilities and he decided to hide from them, which I guess is a form of sloth.
Yeah, and he did take on that fat guy form.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, who would win the death battle?
I gotta give it to King. Mainly because of that stone ability that his Chastity Full has.
That is true, but given the fact that Sloth did break Armstrong's arm and go toe-to-toe with both of them, he could still have the strength and willpower to break free of that stone.
I disagree on that one.
Okay.
Well, think of it this way. Greed got turned to stone, and...
That's his ability. Oh, you mean Bond?
Yeah, Bond.
But how did he get out?
He got out because of King's sister.
Oh, right.
That's the only way.
Elaine, right.
Yeah, and since Sloth doesn't have anything...
But to be fair, he still does have speed. The only reason he got King with that was because he caught him off guard. Sloth isn't that well distracted.
Yeah, but so King would... Remember, King can fly, and Sloth doesn't have any way to counter that.
He's got his chain, and plus he can jump super high, so that's the equivalent of getting up there.
Yeah, but you also have to remember, King also has telekinesis, so while King's distracting him, he can do the telekinesis thing to, well, spear him.
That is true. Alright, in the battle against Sloth, it's easy to see who is king.
Yep.
Really? Not a chuckle?
Oh no, that is funny.
It is very confusing to people of what if you're a robot or not.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
What is love?
Well, that depends on the
Okay, you're not a robot. Next list. Since we've done sloth already, why don't we just go full on gluttonous and go for gluttony.
Okay.
Gluttony, the devouring homunculus of Fullmetal Alchemist, versus Merlin, the very, 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 very knowledgeable wizard.
Also scantily clad.
There you go. Let's start with Merlin this time.
Merlin, well, that's not actually her true name. Her true name cannot be said.
I don't think that's what we're getting at here, Ed. We do not care. Dude, it doesn't matter if she's hard to find.
Here's the fact. One of her abilities is eternity.
Dude, it doesn't matter if she's hard to find on Tinder. We want to find out what her abilities are.
Yeah, one of her abilities is called eternity.
Which does what?
Basically makes her ageless.
Okay, but that doesn't really do anything in a fight, so... Let's get to the abilities and everything, alright?
Well, okay. So, that actually does help, depending when she goes up against one of the Ten Commandments, that literally, if you kill in its presence... Oh, right,
the glob with masks on it.
Yeah. So
okay.
It does help with that. That's also where the true name thing comes in, because it pretty much is an intimidation factor.
Okay, but again, her abilities, we need to get those down.
Pretty much magic.
So basically, any type of magic you can imagine.
Yep.
Okay.
She's also an alchemist.
She's also able to she can be injured, right? Obviously.
She can be injured.
Has she ever come to, like, from what, because I
mean, she did have to, when she went up against the Ten Commandment that you cannot break a promise in front of. The guy that basically says, if you break a promise, you get turned to stone.
Yeah, I love him.
She actually had to turn it, she actually sent her soul into her orb just to save herself.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, and it's another thing she can do.
Now, another thing that always gets me is, if you go through all the sins, Meliodas is the only one to actually, other than her, he's the only one to beat most of the commandments. If you think about it. And she's only beat him, like, Grey Rod, like that shape-shifting thing.
Yeah.
The only reason she beat him was, I don't even remember, to be honest, because it was kind of unmemorable for me.
Grey Rod was the blob thing?
Yeah, Grey Rod was the blob.
Oh yeah, she beat it by literally putting it inside of a test tube. I'm not joking here.
What?
She literally put the thing inside of a test tube and said, "I'm going to enjoy experimenting on you."
Yeah, but to be fair, that's not really that big of a feat, to be honest. I mean, as far as the sins go, she's by far one of the most memorable for me. I mean, she's the most memorable for others, but in terms of battle, yeah, Merlin's magic just doesn't have that kind of oomph.
She can also create a cube that's indestructible.
Yeah, a dimensional cube that.
Yeah.
All right, let's stop with this witch and get on to the feast.
The other gluttony.
Literally devours anything and everything.
Yeah, mainly because it's a failed gate.
Yeah. The one thing I love about gluttony, though, is that he just doesn't care about anything else aside from eating anything.
He did care about lust.
Well, to be fair, that's mostly because, lust kind of knows how to warp people. And gluttony being just a dumb kid, I can see why he would be manipulated by her. Yeah. So I guess that would work against him for Merlin, to a point.
Yeah, right up until he gets pissed off and...
Yeah. Going back to that cube thing, I do believe because he can eat anything, he could eat his way out of it. Because to be fair, there's none of the sins of 7 deadly sins has ever fought someone that doesn't use some sort of magic. Because it's all alchemy.
True, and yeah.
A lot of her magic could, in fact, be eaten and used against her.
He wouldn't really use it against her because...
He would use it to bulk up, basically. Think about it. Everyone in 7 deadly sins has a certain level of power that they can use, right? Before they have to rest, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like Fairy Tale a little bit.
Yeah.
So in essence, gluttony could just continuously eat her attacks and her magic until she's vulnerable.
And if he actually does do that whole opening up his gate form, he could swallow her whole, and that would be the end of it.
Yeah, because he would just literally digest everything about her. Even if she is eternal, there's no escaping that.
No. There was although the way Edward escaped was inventive.
He gave him a stomach ache, didn't he?
No, he literally opened up the true gate and popped out.
Yeah, Merlin could not do that.
Because one, he used Envy's Philosopher's Stone to do it.
Yeah, because Merlin does not have any of that.
Nope.
Basically, the only reasons Merlin was any good was because of they're in their own realm with their own laws. Gluttony can basically just ignore all that because of his Philosopher's Stone. Because he's basically not doing any alchemy. And anything he'd give up would just practically be hers.
Basically.
Plus, he's the only sin to be killed by another sin, so that doesn't really show how strong he is compared to the other characters.
No, but he is able to hold his own in a fight.
Yeah, definitely. So, at the end of the meal, Gluttony wins.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. All right, let's get on to the next one, and this one I can't wait for.
Okay.
Play on the sexy music.
Ah, right, yes, lust.
Music's playing. Can you give me a minute? But I have to do an in-joke somehow.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Anyway.
So, hit it.
Okay, so which one are we gonna start with? The Brotherhood or...
Let's start off with the mind... I say we start off with the very emotionless, lifeless doll. You know, Dakota Fanning.
Funny. But seriously, Gother, yes.
Since you know more about the 7 Deadly Sins from 7 Deadly Sins, start off.
Gother was actually created by the one of the original 10 Commandments.
Yeah, I got to that part. He did it because he lost the love of his life, right?
Yeah.
So he decided to rectify that by...
creating an emotionless puppet.
Wouldn't it have just been easier to give an arm and a leg to bring her back?
Yeah, and then after Gother's creation, he decided, you know what? I'm done with this crap. I'm gonna make my lifeless puppet my replacement.
So
Gother is both a deadly sin and a 10 Commandment.
So basically, he was sick and tired of working for the commandments. So he just said, screw it, you're taking my place.
Yeah, basically.
Huh. Where have we seen that before?
A lot of places, actually.
No, you don't get it. I'm going to funny edit in Xehanort here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Gother's abilities are the goat sin of lust. And all honesty, I did not expect lust to be this bizarre of a sin.
Yeah, one of his abilities is to create a literal energy bow.
Yeah, which can immediately infatuate people, right? That's one of them, right?
That's one of the abilities. He can also literally tell anything about anybody. He just he just points at them, little energy bolt comes out, sticks in their neck, instantly knows exactly anything about them. Like, he used this on Diane.
Yeah,
to say
to
that
erase her
she
memories.
was a specific height from what she said she was.
Not only that, but he also erased her memories completely just as an experiment.
Yeah.
One thing I always saw about Gother is because he's kind of emotionless, you can't tell if he's being serious or if he's kidding or anything. Or depending on whose side he's on.
Yeah. He also somehow ended up in a relationship with the girl who could literally shoot flaming bombs.
Yeah, that wasn't really the best relationship, was it? Anyway.
Mainly because he altered her memory to think that she was in love with him.
Yeah. The one other thing about Gother is he can be destroyed because he is a puppet.
He can be separated into pieces, but he will eventually his pieces will eventually come back together.
So there's no way of killing him.
Unless you destroy every piece of him once they separate.
Okay.
Other than that, no.
Okay, so that's a little bit of information on our goat sin. Let's go to the best sin of all, lust. Who is voiced by the lovely Laura Bailey. Come on, can you not picture a better voice for the sin of lust?
No, yeah,
You can't.
You can't. You really can't.
You can't.
I mean, even a live action Full Metal Alchemist, which I do not recommend. No, it's terrible.
She was good though, like the lust.
The person they got to
portray.
Visually, yes. Voice.
The voice was off.
Yeah, it didn't feel right.
Anyway, lust can literally drive anyone into her clutches.
Pretty much.
Which is terrifying because those clutches are Edward Scissorhand fingers.
Also known as the ultimate spear.
Yeah, oddly enough, the only female sin is one of the ultimate weapons.
True.
Because a lot of people would consider like the sin of lust to be more she is manipulative.
Yeah.
But in all circumstances, you would think a villain like this would be like to stay in the back of the things instead of literally spearheading the missions.
Yeah.
But I kind of enjoy that little twist.
Yeah.
And also, unless you fully break down her body, she will keep regenerating as well.
Yeah, I mean, the way Mustang defeated her, like, holy crap.
Like, seriously, there's overkill, and then there's...
And then there's what Mustang did.
This is the definition of going overboard.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, he did that while he was freaking injured too.
not only that, but she is hot.
Well, yeah, there is. Yeah.
Dude, can you just let the joke sit?
I mean, to be honest, she's in my top 10 hotties list.
For anime?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, unless Gother... Okay, so, Sin versus Sin, who would win?
Gother doesn't really have any actual method of, well, getting rid of her.
Yeah, I mean, as much... Because, to be fair, he mostly manipulates a bunch of people in order to do what he wants.
Yeah, and she would... And
considering there is no one in this battle to fight aside from them, he is literally...
outmatched.
Yeah, he's literally on a lake without a paddle.
Yeah, basically.
Lust, on the other hand, has shown time and time again that she can get the job done by herself. And even if his body regenerates, using her abilities, she can just destroy piece by piece. Because he can't do anything to her.
No. Even if he could, it would take him years to do it.
Yeah, because the homunculus's psychology isn't the same as the other creatures.
Yeah, so
that he's manipulated. I mean, he manipulated a giant, an actual human, but did he ever manipulate any of the demons? Which basically, homunculus are technically a type of demon somewhat.
And no, he did not.
So,
yeah.
Looks for looks, lust has it all.
Yep.
Man, the 7 Deadly Sins are doing really, really poorly right now.
They have 1 win, 2 losses so far.
Yep. Well... Money, 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 money! Money! Okay, yeah, I get you get where we're going with this. We're going to the greedy guys. Bon, the fox sin of greed, versus Greed, the best homunculus of them all.
Yep.
Who do we start off with this time?
Let's go with the homunculus one first.
Fantastic! The best character in the Full Metal Alchemist series. Put down the guns. Let me explain. Seriously, you wouldn't believe the last time this happened.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wait, why is it only against me?
Because I didn't call him the best character. That's why I didn't get any.
He is, if you think about it. He's the only one that actually developed throughout the whole show.
Well, yeah. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Thank you.
In terms of development, yes, he's the best character.
Exactly.
If we're going outside of the realm of development, not really.
But if you go into his powers, God help you if you even try to kill him. Greed being greed, he literally wants everything. And like he said, people associate greed with ambition and money. But the thing about greed is, the thing about the homunculus sins, everyone's got a bit of greed in them. People want happiness, they want money, they want objects, they want a greed of love, they want everything.
Yeah. And he embodies that. Yeah,
his big goal is just doing whatever he wants, getting what he wants, and basically getting eternal life.
Yeah, pretty much every form of greed you can imagine, that's him.
Yeah, that's what makes Greed such a very cohesive character. Like, in whichever version you're watching, his goals stay the same.
Yeah.
And whereas Lust was the ultimate spear, Greed is the ultimate shield.
He can use that ultimate shield in various ways. He can do a full body shield, or he can do certain body parts, including making his hands claws. Especially when he got in his new body, which
with Ling.
With Ling, yeah.
Yeah.
Ling was also adept at various forms of martial arts of his culture.
Yeah, so
adding to how Greed was already good at combat,
this just umped it up a little bit. Not only that, but if you think about it, it's basically kind of like in One Piece when they do armament hockey, where they can harden a part of their body to make it extra strong. So even though he's the ultimate shield, he can use this, like he said, to make his claws, to armament his arms, and his legs in order to create...
And Greed has gone toe-to-toe with some of Full Metal Alchemist's most heavy hitters.
Like Elric, he went up against...
He went up against Elric's against the master of the Elric brothers.
Yeah.
The housewife.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can we not get that image in our audience's head, please?
Yeah.
He basically
And then he also went up against Wrath for a certain period of time.
Yeah, which, honestly, Wrath is no slouch.
No, he is not.
One thing I love about Greed, too, is he's the only one to die selflessly in the ending of Full Metal Alchemist. Think about it. He's the remaining sin at the end of the season, at the end of the series. Not just the last couple episodes, the last episode.
Yep.
So that just shows how, not just how great of a character he is, but just how long he's preserved throughout his brothers and sister.
Yeah. I mean, hell, he was the whole reason that Father was able to be defeated in the first place.
We'll come to that point once we go through the whole analytics of who would win.
Yeah.
Next up, imagine a guy who had nothing to start off with, and then after finding a father, he found meaning, and then he lost it.
Yeah.
Wanting to seek eternal life and actually gain it. That would be Bond, the blue-haired, red leather-wearing jackass that even an adult film wouldn't cast.
Yeah. He also, and this wasn't his intention, but he also found love in the tree. Pretty much King's sister.
Yeah, imagine not only working with the dude, but the fact that you're also in love with his sister. Seriously, what level of cliche are we on that for anime?
Yeah,
right around the middle?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But basically, that wasn't his intent, because he just wanted the water of life.
Yeah.
Which, all honesty, I'm glad that he rejected it, to be honest, and to be with Elaine, which was pretty sweet. Yeah. Until the tree was being destroyed, and...
by a red demon, yes.
And
he did hold his own against the red demon while he was a normal human.
Yeah, but then Elaine gave him the kiss of life. Okay, she basically put the water in her mouth and then just put it down his throat. Seriously, what is with this?
I don't know.
Which gave him eternal life.
But he did lose her in that whole transaction.
Until seasons later, they brought her back from the dead for anime bullshit reasons. What?
Yeah, pretty much.
Not only does he... Bond is pretty fast himself. Like, compared to the other sins, I think other than Meliodas, he is the second fastest of the group.
Yeah. And he does wield a very interesting weapon on top of
Which is basically steel nunchucks.
Yeah. Which are literally connected by a chain in two different sections.
That is a nunchuck! Are you trying to dumbsplain this to people?
There are people who aren't going to understand what this weapon is.
Anyone who's seen a martial arts movie, okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Not only that, but he also has a very unique ability, I will admit.
I think it was steel. Yeah, steel.
Yeah, steel. Yeah. Which, explain.
He can literally steal any ability.
Yeah.
Or someone's strength, etc., etc. And it buffs him.
Takes the whole new meaning to I want it all and I want it now. Yeah. Why am I making so many musical jokes?
The effect doesn't also do that. He can also steal a physical object.
Yeah, basically can he do someone's heart or?
It is limited to, he can't like literally rip someone's heart out, but he can take, but if they're holding, like, say, a sword or an axe.
So basically it only affects objects, not like organs and all that.
No.
As long as it's inorganic.
Inorganic, or if it's someone's energy. Like physical energy, he can take that. He can steal that and add it to himself.
Now he has been brutally damaged before.
Yes, hence why he had to have the waters of life given to him.
Is there a limit to how much, or is this in him forever?
No, it's permanent.
Okay.
Like even though in later seasons you do see him like literally slitting his wrist and dropping a crap ton of blood.
Okay, we don't need to get so graphic, man. We don't need to get so graphic.
He doesn't lose the ability. Is where I'm going with that.
Okay.
Hence why he's called
the
Bond the Undead.
Now, is there any weaknesses to Bond?
Aside from Elaine, not really.
All right, now greed versus greed. Who wins the fight? I'm going to get right down to it. This comes into one specific question.
Can Bond get past the ultimate shield? Possibly.
I don't know, considering...
Steel could technically take that ability for a short time away from him.
But here's the thing.
But they're both somewhat unkillable.
There are two things I have to disagree on that. One, greed most of the times when people fight greed, it's after a fight and then examining him, like what he does, and coming up with a strategy. Considering this is a one-on-one fight, Bond doesn't have the time to figure that out. Plus, greed can change the durability of his armor to any measure. So,
True.
So if he judges how strong Bond's hits are with and without his weapon, he can then adjust his shield to make it impervious. Plus, if Bond tries to steal the Philosopher's Stone inside, Father already tried to do that, which led to his undoing, because the Philosopher's Stone still has greed's essence in it. So if Bond...
I don't think that would work. He would probably just keep attacking and attacking and attacking, because they're both... Because remember, Bond is technically undead. He can go days and days in a fight.
May I, though?
To the point where he could wear out all the souls within Greed's stone.
May I point out a point? Think about it. Father tried to absorb greed back into him, and what did Greed do the minute he could? He reversed the ultimate shield on Father, because Father also was immortal, correct?
Yes, but Greed's not absorbing the shard. He would be just taking it out of the body,
which is, in essence, again, still holds his essence.
Yeah, but before before Greed starts to revive, throw it up in the air and start attacking.
Who says he would revive? He would immediately...
Sorry, I mean reform.
Just like he possessed Ling, he could possess Bond for a short amount of time, enough to reverse the ultimate shield on Bond, making him fragile enough to break.
Because that would require Bond to have a cut somewhere on him.
If he gets his claws close enough.
But you also remember, Bond heals incredibly fast. The only person to ever permanently wound him was Meliodas.
Yeah, and plus his sword was really bullshit.
Yeah, it wasn't the sword, it was Meliodas' power.
Oh, right, the demon form, right.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, demon form and the Greed's razor-sharp claws are basically around the same power length. So, if he gets enough...
I'd say it's mostly a tie between the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, when you go up against the ultimate shield versus the guy that can never die, I get your point. If Bond goes out long enough, he can fracture all the souls in the Philosopher's Stone for Greed to finally be enough.
Yeah. So, again, it's a tie.
Yeah. Oh, actually, nah, it's not really a tie. I think Bond gets the win. Because, again, the more he fights, the souls in the stone will basically collapse, and...
Yeah.
Well, looks like in this fight, Bond is the greediest of all.
Yep.
Alright, let's get very envious now.
Yes.
Envy, the shape-shifting homunculus, versus Diane, the giantess of the 7 deadly sins. Let's get down to Diane for a little bit, because, all honesty, I think this battle is very one-sided.
Yeah. She is, well, as stated already, a giant, quite tall.
And ditzy.
To some extent, yes.
Although when she fights, she does pretty well, especially with her giant hammer. Like, holy crap!
Yep. And she does wield, well, earth magic.
Yeah, she can create golems, she can make earthquakes, she can make earth pillars.
She can literally create a semi-meteor.
That is true. I do remember that.
Earth spikes. Yeah, pretty much anything you can think of with Earth, she has the ability to do so.
Unfortunately, this one's going to be a little bit short because Diane does have a lot of weaknesses. For example, if someone's faster than her, she can't catch up.
True.
Plus, she is very easy because of her lack of... Because if you think about it, a lot of the other sins have a good majority of healing factors.
She does not.
Yeah.
At all.
Which basically leaves her wide open to a variety of injuries.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
she's literally almost died a couple times.
Okay, seriously, dude, if you can't see right there, the image of the next guy is getting impatient and it's getting very envious. So can we talk about this one before he...
Oh, right, yes. The...
Envy,
yes. I guess you could technically say the third family member in the Elrics.
Technically, yeah. Envious is basically a shapeshifter. normally taking the form of a
weird little lizard thing.
No, mostly it's a green-haired, tomboyish character.
Yeah, but with the ability to take on any form.
And that's a big disadvantage to Deanna, basically. Because if Envy... Can Envy scour someone's memories or something?
No.
Nothing at all?
Nope, just shapeshifting.
Oh, I thought that she could do that.
And incredibly dense. Like, I mean, if you force Envy to the ground, it creates a small crater.
Oh, she's dense.
Yeah.
So basically,
mainly because of the technically natural form she takes, which is a massive creature.
So basically, a majority of it is just illusion type stuff. Like it's basically like it's kind of like Bug's Life, that giant bird they made, but it's little ants inside. Does that make sense?
Basically, yes.
So it's all mass, no power, kind of.
Basically, Envy is a heavy hitter. Like if you get hit by her, bones are gonna break.
Yeah. Not only get into her monstrous form, which, all honesty, looks like it could have been a final boss.
Or an Elder Tor, yes.
Mm-hmm.
True form is actually underwhelming.
Yeah, which is basically what happens if you mix a newt with a leech.
Yep.
And all honesty, she does have some pretty cool abilities. And I say she because for the majority of the season, it is technically a she, but it's basically genderless.
Yeah. One of the major things that Envy has done was help start a war.
Also has become the most hated character in anime history.
Yeah, mostly because
she murdered Hughes!
Well, that and a child.
Dude! Look at this man!
Yeah.
Tell me this is not the best father in anime.
It is. Let's not get into
a moment of silence for the greatest father in anime. Alright, that's done.
Yep.
Okay. Envy versus Envy. Who takes the match?
Diane doesn't really have any way of actually killing Envy.
Yeah, because if you think about it, again, much like Gluttony, Envy was only killed technically by suicide because Elric basically pitied her.
Yeah. All of the group that was standing there pitied Envy to the point of suicide, yeah.
Because Envy tried to turn them against each other because she was literally envious of the bonds that they had. And because realizing that it would never have anything like that. That's why it constantly tore... Because think about it. It tore people apart because it was envious of their lives. That's why she killed Hughes.
Yeah.
That's why I always thought Envy had an ability to sense the bond, how strong bonds were in people. Because I thought that's why she targeted specific people.
Nope.
That would have been really cool if she could do that.
That would have been cool, yeah, but nope. It's just shape-shifting.
Not only that, but the forms that she takes, she can easily shift from that monstrous form to being small enough. Even though in her small form, she could still damage Deanne way more than Deanne could ever damage her.
True. So, Envy from Brotherhood takes the fight.
Yeah, and there's nothing to be jealous about that.
True.
All right, going into the next sin, I'm feeling a little wrathful.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I know let's continue with wrath.
Yeah.
One of the oldest emotions in the history of the world, wrath.
Yeah.
Whether it's against someone who wronged you or just out of bitterness, wrath can always be the spark that ignites a roaring flame of violence.
Yep.
And there is no better versions of that than these two. Wrath from Full Metal Alchemist, the definite traitor of the alchemists.
Yeah.
Versus Meliodas, the perverted dragon sin of wrath.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start off with wrath in this one.
Alrighty.
I can't remember his real name. I really can't.
Yeah,
But all in all...
Oh, wait, it was Bradley.
Bradley, thank you. Okay, all honesty, I did not see... When I first watched the show, I didn't think this guy was going to be a traitor. Like, I just thought he was a warrior, a hero. that had to be stuck behind a desk.
I mean, throughout the whole series, before the reveal that he's a traitor,
Bradley was one of the kindest guys ever.
Yeah.
Even
visiting Edward in the hospital, giving him a melon, which is actually a very expensive gift given the time and...
What does fruit have to do with this? And it's not revealed until later when he removes his eye patch that the homunculus symbol is his eye. That is a good, cool touch.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly thought it was just going to be the Philosopher's Stone right there.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing about this is in the original
Wrath was a little kid.
Yeah. Bradley was actually Pride. And he was also a human homunculus.
Wait a minute, they originally turned Wrath into Pride, and then they switched it back.
Yeah.
They should
Wrath was was not actually Bradley's adopted son. Someone completely was actually the Elric brothers teacher's creation.
Yeah, can we just stick to the Brotherhood version, please? Because
the Brotherhood version is better. But I just thought people should know that.
This is more stupid decisions than the Dragon Ball Z movie.
Let's get into this combat skill. He is extremely well versed in combat,
especially mostly hand to hand and sword combat.
Yeah,
he had Scar on the run, and Scar being a freaking beast of an alchemist.
Scar didn't become an alchemist until near the end of the series.
Doesn't matter. He still had hell of a lot of strength for not being a full alchemist.
Well, yeah.
You have to admit that is pretty impressive that he was able to go toe to toe with Bradley as much as he did near the end.
And the fact that he could instantly literally with
destroy the Chimera, which was the saddest thing in the world. But overall, Bradley's combat is extensive. Like, he will go all out. Constantly being injured, he still went all out. He even you took a blade with his teeth.
Yeah. Hell, he literally sliced a tank shell in half.
And if we judge by the diameter of a tank shell, wait a minute, you know what? We don't do that. No. Go to the actual death battle. This is, the cheap Canadian version. We don't do all that analytical stuff. But actually, if we do look at the shell right here, if we do look at the diameter and the measurements of it, and how, if we had to calculate the speed that it was going after being fired, he would have to have been slicing with extreme precision and speed in order to cut it in half.
Yeah, well, considering that he was literally trained for years to be in the position that he was put in, it makes sense.
Not only that, not only as a homunculus, but because he infiltrated the alchemists for so many years and he learned so much, he's a double agent, but basically he's the best of both worlds there.
Yeah.
Full metal alchemist training mixed with homunculus ability.
Yeah.
Tell me that's not a terrifying mix.
Oh, it is.
Not only that, but the only reason he died was because an act of God. Sunlight shining onto a blade and blinding him for a brief second.
Yeah. Because he, in a flashback, he literally says, "Is your God going to give me some kind of divine punishment?"
Yeah, basically. Which, ironically, it does happen. That's one thing I love about the 7 Deadly Sins from Full Metal Alchemist. All their deaths are definitely symbolic of their sin. I love it.
And it was the guy he had on the run who killed him.
Yeah, and it was like a split second of blindness, too.
Yeah, that's all it took.
Which I do enjoy that it happened, but at the same time, we all know that if plot device didn't happen, Scar would have been dead in the water.
Oh, yeah. And another interesting point about his death, he smiles.
I think after that, he can finally let go of all of his wrath and just die peacefully.
Yeah. That's why he smiled.
Going into the next guy.
Meliodas.
Do we have to make jokes about him?
If you want to.
Okay, I'm going to risk it. Meliodas is by far one of the very first of the sins, and also one of the first commandments.
He was the leader of the commandments. He's actually the son of
the Demon King.
The Demon King, yeah.
So plot armor wasn't enough for him. We have this.
And the fact that he's 3,000 years old.
You want to know what's screwing me with this? All 14 of these contestants are plot armor incarnate.
Yeah. He also, the girl that he keeps, the girl
Elizabeth, yeah.
She's also his 3,000-year-old lover.
Yeah, that keeps getting reincarnated when she dies, and when she finds out, she dies days later. Blah, 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 blah. Just put the Notebook opening right on this, and you'll basically get the whole story.
Yeah. He is incredibly powerful.
Dude, he's not just powerful, he is absurdly OP, but even by any anime standards.
To the point where he had to seal much of his power away because he couldn't actually control it.
And seal away the commandments because he didn't want anything to happen.
Well, yeah, there's that too.
One of his favorite abilities is full counter, which he will take a blow and then redirect it with a good amount of force.
Yeah.
Basically, it's mirror force.
Basically.
Not only that, but for the first season, he was doing all that with the handle of a sword with just like this much coming out of the blade.
Yeah.
So the fact that he lasted for 2 seasons just with that.
And then he got a blade that
his actual dragon blade.
The previous reincarnation of Elizabeth gave him.
Yeah, which was basically fit a motif with his dragon logo.
Yeah. And then he got that new sword with the 3 things that look like it should have spheres on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he became even more OP after regaining his sealed away abilities.
Not only that, but he can also multiply.
Yeah.
Or are those after images?
No, it's actual multiplication. But the downside to that is it takes
fraction of his power.
They're each 1/4. They're each 1/4 of his power.
Okay, so if he tried to take on Wrath multiple times, it wouldn't do anything because it would still be a fraction of his powers. But although if we calculate what his power level was during a good majority of this, that's still nothing to slouch about.
He was over 65,000 power.
Yeah, so if we fraction that off, you know what? That's math I can't even do.
Yeah, even his fractions are still quite powerful.
Yeah. It's not like multiple shows wherever you split, you get weaker. It's basically his base.
Yeah.
Yeah, what his split forms would be, it's pretty much everyone else's base power. Yeah. So that is, again, incredible. Not only that, but again, his demon form also ranks up his abilities too. His speed.
Oh, yeah, his speed.
And his ruthlessness.
Oh, yeah. If he stays in that for an extended period of time,
he will lose control.
He will lose himself, yeah.
I think that's... okay. Yeah, okay. Wrath versus Wrath.
On top of that, he also does have an incredible healing factor.
That is true. He is also immortal, but that can easily be... He can still die sometimes.
He just comes back, though.
Yeah, again. But again, we're not focusing on years later. We're focusing in the battle at the moment.
Oh, no, it didn't take him years to come back. It took him a day.
But again, he's still gone for that battle.
Yeah. Here's the thing, Bradley doesn't really have a method of actually killing him. He can hurt him, sure, but can't actually kill him. Mainly because of the whole 7 hearts thing.
But if he kills those hearts...
That's also if Bradley even knows that he has them.
Well, I think if the battle goes on and if he destroys one, but realizes that there's something's up, Bradley's not stupid. He will immediately figure something's up and immediately formulate a plan to get to it. Like, figure everything out.
And full counter wouldn't actually apply here.
Why not?
It only counters magical attacks.
That is a good point.
His brother's ability, on the other hand, counters
everything.
Physical attacks.
Yeah, so Meliodas was the magical reflection, while
his older brother.
It was his younger brother.
No, it was
right, what's his name?
We're just going to go...
Yeah. But so basically... Yes, I remember now. I remember that. So Bradley is basically... He is not immune to any of Bradley's attacks.
No, but... he will be able to easily tank and or dodge his attacks.
I don't know, man. Bradley spent years fighting alchemists, other threats, and Scar, who wasn't an alchemist at the time, actually went toe-to-toe with the dude.
Yeah, and
if it wasn't for
on top of that, if Meliodas actually uses his demonic power, he's going to be able to outspeed Bradley, survive any of the hits, and regenerate like that. So,
but there's also the risk if he loses himself, he'll just go in a frenzy without thinking, and Bradley can catch him off guard.
Yes, but
I get your point. There is no actual way for Bradley.
Meliodas only needs one strike to kill Bradley.
That is true. As much as Bradley is how strong he is and how tactical he is, there is no way for him to end the fight.
Oh yeah, I just remembered. Meliodas does have an ability called Revenge,
which
the more he gets damaged,
he can send it right back.
Yeah.
So if his magical attacks doesn't.
Yeah. So it's basically like the Pokemon ability Revenge.
Yeah. The harder you hit, the worse you'll get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, considering the fact that Meliodas' speed, abilities, and his strength outmatches Bradley, Bradley has no actual way to end the fight.
Exactly.
So the wrath goes to the short blonde kid.
Yep.
Finally, we have reached the end, and I am so happy about it.
Because now...
Am I the best? I think I'm the best.
Alright, stop showing your pride.
Who's talking about pride? I'm just insanely happy.
Yeah, that's what pride is.
Escanor, the lion's sin of pride, versus Pride, the little bastard that could.
Yep.
Become a jackass.
Yeah.
Let's start off with Pride, because this little brat needs it. Honestly, out of all the sins, I think Pride is the most powerful in regards to...
Well, he was the first one created.
Yeah. Because think about it. Your pride over creation technically counts as the first sin.
Yeah.
And all honesty, despite his form, he is insanely strong. It is terrifying. Not to mention those shadow creatures that he can create with the jagged teeth. That is just monstrous.
Yeah, that is his true form, by the way.
No, I know, but the way he can just expel them out like tendrils.
Yeah, it is creepy.
Not only that, but they're strong enough to devour gluttony.
Yep. And that was just the what the F moment.
You didn't see it coming, right?
No.
All honesty, that's the thing with Pride. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. That is pride to the extent when you don't care about anything else as long as you survive.
Yeah. The only one he actually did care about was his creator.
Well, yeah, if you think about it, you have to respect the guy that created you. Except for greed.
Yeah.
But again, given Pride's abilities, with those tendrils, with his healing factor.
Yeah. And the fact that he's in a kid's body to his advantage.
Yeah.
He's like, do you really want to hurt this body that I'm in? Do you really want to do that?
Yeah, he always goats people into if you think about it, trying to commit murder on a kid. I mean, yeah, a lot of people still know what he is, but it's always that emotional factor that people get.
Yeah.
And the only reason he died was because Elric, again, pulled some ex machina bullshit.
Yeah, basically.
Seriously, a good majority of the Sin's death, of the homunculus' death, is plot armor and BS.
Yeah.
It's not just straight on power, it's not straight on abilities.
No, it's just plot armor.
If you think about it, out of the 7, 4 of them were killed because of bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Envy, gluttony, pride, wrath. Those are the ones that were died because of bullshit.
Yeah.
Other than the tendrils, does he have any abilities that he can do?
Not really.
Okay. Let's go on to the most...
Mind you, his abilities do depend... Mind you, those tendrils do depend on how much shadows are around. Or how much light is in the area.
So as long as there's a lot of light, he can do them?
Pretty much.
Okay, well then that's going to make it really difficult for this guy. Imagine the wimpiest guy you can imagine in your life. Ha ha, very funny. Anyway, going off that, you could never imagine a guy looking like this could turn out to be a 7 deadly sin of pride. Well, turn the lights on and bam! Chippendales, ready to go.
Yep.
Escanor is by far, aside from Meliodas, the only sin that is pretty much impervious.
Yeah.
Except when he fought Meliodas' older brother and he was almost eliminated.
Mind you, the sun wasn't at
Peak. Yeah.
When it goes into peak, even Meliodas cowered.
Well, Ed, since you're the sin expert, give us some info on Escanor.
Okay, during the night, Escanor is this wimpy guy who's
very
oddly
polite.
enough in love with Merlin.
Pride and lust together.
Yeah, I know.
No, pride and gluttony, my bad.
Yeah, pride and gluttony, yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
So, during the day, that's during the night. But once the sun starts to rise,
he gets buff.
he gets buff. Once the sun reaches
high noon, he is unbelievable.
Unbelievably strong. Like, to the point where you can't be in his presence or
without
it's like
burning
basically
to a
being
crisp.
on the sun, basically.
Yeah, he harnesses that heat of the sun for his ultimate attack, which is so badass. Not to mention his divine axe Rita, which is a one-handed axe. Like, that's no such thing.
Yeah.
And the power it has, just from him swinging it alone.
He's the only one who can lift it.
Yeah.
Anyone else who tried,
not working.
Straight to the ground.
Yeah.
And that's not to mention the fact that one of the Ten Commandments tried to eat his soul. Is that weird girl who has weird smoke.
Yeah, the purple. Yeah.
She tried to devour his soul.
Did not work.
It burned her to smithereens.
Yeah. That just goes to prove, don't, if you can't take the heat, don't do it.
Yeah. And the fact, here's something. One of the commandments who turned himself to stone because of his own commandment.
Yeah, was terrified.
Was terrified to the point where he ran. But that
Galad.
Yeah, Galad. Galad actually swung at him, cleaved everything in half. About that far
Much of a scar.
It literally barely went into it.
It's basically like taking a steak knife to a steel machine.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
And he took on Meliodas' older brother and won.
Yeah. Oh, well, a bit. He wounded him. He didn't fully win.
He still defeated him.
Yeah.
And he actually got over that commandment.
Yeah.
Because if you hate the guy, you cannot attack him.
Yeah.
He didn't hate him. He didn't give two shits about him.
Yeah.
And even though the counter ability of if you physically attack him, it's going to come right back at you.
It didn't matter.
But didn't phase him at all. He's like, oh, so that's what my power feels
like.
Escanor
is by far one of the most
prideful people you will ever meet.
Not just his pride. The fact that his pride also exuberates his immunity. Because he's barely been hurt throughout the whole show. At least from where I've seen it.
And again, when the sun went to its high noon state,
he is invincible, but only for that 1 minute.
Yeah. But once it goes past that, he starts to weaken.
Now, enough sun talk. Pride versus pride. Who gets the win? This is a tough one, to be honest.
Yeah. I actually do have to give this one to Escanor.
Really?
Yeah. Because the longer the fight goes out, the more powerful Escanor gets.
Not really, depending on when it's taken.
No, he doesn't actually have to have the sun beating on him. It doesn't matter when.
Yeah, it's during the sun. Yeah, it's during daylight. But the problem is,
no, while the sun is rising, since his power depends on how high the sun is in the sky.
Yeah, but
it doesn't matter if he sees it or not. No matter where it is.
I'm not talking about if he sees it, but what happens when the sun starts to set more? What happens then? Then he'll revert to his weakened form.
Yeah, but by the point the sun gets to high noon, he will have in the time that in that short amount of time.
But that's
he can one-shot pride.
Yeah, but Edison, that's a very, very specific circumstance, and we have to account for all possibilities, not just when it's in high noon. So if the battle goes past that and the sun's setting, he's gonna weaken even further.
He will still weaken, but he will still.
Plus, the more the sun is out, the more Pride shadows are. So he'll have to deal with multiple of that.
Yes, but we don't know how. But we don't know exactly how powerful.
Hey, that thing can slice through gluttony, and he was a powerhouse.
True.
Plus, again, you really think Escanor? I mean, Escanor is probably going to deal with the shadow monsters because Pride will definitely have his form out. But the minute Escanor gets close, he'll probably revert to to the boy form, and Escanor won't know what to do because hurting a child.
Yeah, no, he will realize that the thing that's sitting in front of him isn't actually a child, and he will not hold back.
What if Pride? Because a big part of Pride's whole thing is the manipulation of people, playing on their emotions like that. So imagine, like, if he just thinks that the kid is a captive of the shadows, because Escanor wouldn't know. Because it would take only a slim bit for Escanor to feel bad before the tendrils can strike. Because again, you got to go for all possibilities. Because there have been death battles where characters have used the psychology of them in order to trick them. For example, and I know I'm going into the actual death battle thing, when Darkseid tricked Thanos into going into his realm. Thanos lost the Infinity Gauntlet because the stones only work in their reality.
True.
So you got to play both sides of the coin, not just the physical aspects of the fight, but the psychological as well. And that's where Pride rules. I mean, how many people did he hurt because people thought he was a defenseless kid?
True, but Escanor has fought in people who have looked like kids before.
Name 3.
Okay, for one thing, that girl actually does look like she's a kid.
No, she looks like a woman, but she's just petite.
No, she's a kid. There have been instances in the Meliodas, he looks like a fucking child.
Yeah, but Escanor knows this. He doesn't know what Pride fully looks like. So again, Pride could use that form to his advantage. But overall, I get what you're saying. Because of Escanor's pure strength and his basic one-handed axe.
Plus, he can literally summon a fucking miniature sun.
Yeah.
So, if you're, like, given the moment he does that, that's going to put the point to where no shadows can exist. Because if you're in a room that has...
the sun creates shadows. You can't have it both ways.
No, there is an instance where shadows cannot be created from pure light. There is an instance.
If the sun has no focal point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because he can create a miniature sun to throw at people.
That is fair.
Yeah. The moment he does that, Pride loses a majority of his power.
That is true. And plus, the minute that sun hits him, it will literally, like what happened with Lust, his existence will burn.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, even if the Philosopher's Stone survives, Escanor will quickly deal with it.
Yeah, there's also the fact that the more the sun rises, so does his heat.
That is true.
Like, the moment he touched a lake, it instantly evaporated.
Yeah, that is true.
So, we also have to count that.
So,
Pride would still have that physical where he would suffer from heat.
So the lion basically wins it.
Yeah.
The gentle lion takes the prideful fight. Now let's analyze it again. In the battle versus the greed, Bond won.
Yep.
In the battle of gluttony, Gluttony won. In the battle of envy, Envy won. In the battle of sloth, King won. In the battle of wrath,
Wrath won, yeah. No, Meliodas won that one.
In the battle of pride,
Pride. No, Pride.
Escanor won.
Escanor won, yeah.
And in the fight of lust
won.
So it's basically a very close match, but the 7 deadly sins take it all, mostly because of their healing factor. Not only that, but if you think about the ones that won, had completely BS abilities.
Oh yeah.
But if given enough analytics to see if they can die in the next season,
yeah,
yeah. But overall, yeah, this was a pretty good matchup.
Yeah.
Like, all honesty, this is one of the best death battle analytics we did. We just got next year. Yes, I'm doing a part 3 because I am that dumb to do this again. And E will be joining me once again.
Yep.
And oh boy, you better get ready, man, because I have a bunch of new craziness to concoct.
Oh, I have no doubt about that.
And that's it for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining in the video. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe down below. And if he's still doing videos, are you, or have you gotten out of it?
I've stopped doing that for a little while.
All right. Anyway,
I may start up again at some point, but
yep.
You know.
If you can, check out his channel, which will be in the description down below. And next month, ladies and gentlemen, it's December, which means deck the halls with boughs of gaming. Hey, it's my game. How about I can say what I want?
Yeah, no.
Join me next week as we start off the Merry Christmas season with... Let's see, what am I doing next week? Oh, yeah, I remember. Join me as I do a 10-year anniversary edition of a Telltale series that is one of my favorite series. And you'll just have to wait to see what twists may come. Dun dun! This is Gamer K, logging out.